Hi, this is Brian from B's Music Shop here at the 2023 Chicago Vintage and Custom Drum Show, and I'm here with Brian Hill from the Drums of War series, and he's got some vintage, what do you call them? Antique, which is very older than vintage. Some relic kind of drums here. He's going to tell us about them. So what have you got here today?
This is a full Civil War setup today, north and south. This is an Eagle drum. It's made by Zimmerman out of Philadelphia, 1860s Civil War vintage. Brought the strap with it, but it's a contract drum. It's a 13 by 16 with the U.S. Arms, and this is the official U.S. Arms during the Civil War, which you'll mostly find in places like Philadelphia, Boston, and New York, East Coast.
So they would have used this like battlefield drums.
These are battlefield drums. These are military drums. During the war, the North ordered over 44,000 drums.
Wow.
But half my collection was made before the Civil War, back into the 1700s and brought up, which we'll show down here a little bit further.
So what would they do with those drums? So when they would have a drum in the battlefield, what was its purpose?
Well, there were two purposes. You could have a band, which was kind of rare. It was brigade, division, and corps bands. In the beginning, they did have regimental bands, but they got rid of them because of the cost. So every company, which every regiment had basically 10 companies, was allowed to have two musicians, a fife or a drum or two drums, or I don't know of any double fifes, but then they'd get together and be a fife and drum corps for the regiment.
Wow.
But other than that, they kept time. During the evening, night marches, they would beat on the hoops, but during the day, they might tap on this, and they had all kinds of things. They told you what to do, when to do.
So be to kind of control and give orders kind of a little bit.
And the best part is, drummers made more money than average soldiers.
As it should be.
They had more to do.
Wow.
So we have some sticks here. I brought just 2 cases of sticks.
Yeah.
And I added with these, a lot of these were the brass stick holders, which are rare. Most of the drummers didn't like them. They threw them away. But they're kind of pricey, and when I can find them, I'll buy them. And just some different ones. Presentation, regular sticks. These have nice silver ferrules on it. And these over here are just regular sets of sticks with the brass stick holders.
That's really cool.
Some nice fellas in Civil War looking gear. This is probably 1870s, 80s. When I look on the drums, I can give an idea of when they were made. Okay. So this is post-war, but it was the closest thing I had to Civil War that was authentic.
It's unbelievable like how young those guys look. I mean,
I always liked the look on this guy's face. I figured he was the lead drummer.
Yeah.
But, and then they had this is a very cool piece. It's a Confederate drum. It's a battlefield pickup from the Battle of Springfield, Missouri. It was the only battle in Missouri the Union won. This was picked up off the Confederate line of retreat from October of 1861. And it was stored in the family that picked it up's attic for over 100 years. Oh, wow. And it was stored very poorly. So this is basically Plan D you're looking at here. Of just trying to hold it together. But I was able to keep the top head. The front rope is 1860 vintage, and these are 10 of the 11 1860 pigskin ears. I have
ears, so they would use ears with.
No. That's what you just call the tugs.
That's a slang. Okay, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, the tugs, the pulls, tensioners, we call them ears.
That's great.
And this would be a very good example of what a Confederate drum would use, heavy leather or pigskin. This is actually a Union strap off another drum, an ID drum from the 5th Maine, but I needed one because everybody was getting straps, so this guy got a strap too.
Nice.
So it's a rare example of a Union using a leather or pigskin strap. Over here in this other drum,
let's come down here.
This is more of this is a more common strap for the Union, as is its bass drum. It's more of a webbing design. But again, no rules, man. It is just what it is.
And so what is this drum?
This is a presentation drum, and it's made by one of my favorite makers, William Tompkins out of Yonkers, New York. True craftsman, jumped on all the new stuff, the new style strainers, the hooks. But this is his inlay work, and this is a 2-ply drum.
So that's not paint, that's inlay.
No, that's wood. That's wood
my
inlay.
God. Yeah, I wasn't looking at that close. I would have guessed it was sort of paint like that.
No, this is the paint.
Yeah.
So this was a full presentation drum. This was The 8th Heavy Artillery, which didn't do much, but it was a very large regiment, did garrison duty around Baltimore and Washington for the heavy artillery units. It started out as an infantry unit. General Grant found out about him, pulled him into his overland campaign of '63. They took a shellacking at Spotsylvania, heavy casualties. James Ray's drum was lost. The regiment got together and bought him a new drum. This drum, John Ellis in Washington, D.C. So his information's on the inside of the drum. William Tompkins' information and date is on the inside of the drum.
Wow.
James, the name of the drummer, James Raymond, is in the inside of the drum a couple times, and the 8th Heavy New York Artillery is also marked on the inside of the drum. So it's a heavily ID drum.
Wow.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really, I was just about to ask about that.
Well, the cymbals aren't the rare part, it's the carrying case.
Yeah.
I've only seen one other one in person at the Gettysburg Visitor Center Museum.
I've been there, yeah, it's really great.
All the rest have been in books, so when I found this one, there was no question in my mind.
Yeah, so how do you find, how do you find this stuff?
I keep my eyes open.
Yeah, you just know what you're looking for, and
I know what I'm looking for, yeah.
It's really, really incredible, the collection you have here. You want to talk to us about this drum down here? Keep coming down here.
This is a really good example of repurposing. This is an 1820s bass drum by Mixer, Bill Mixer, and it's all Civil War use, obviously. The 30th New Jersey, 1862 was the end date. They were out in '63, and it was played by Jacob Case. And these are the bass drum beaters that he used during the Civil War.
What are the heads made out of?
These are calf skin.
The heads of the beater.
Yeah, these are leather.
They're just that old.
Left hand, right hand, or dominant and feather hand.
I guess that's what leather that's about a better part of 200 years old looks like. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it's Civil War or before.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, it's so aged, it almost looks like, it's incredible.
Well, the interesting thing is, musicians were allowed to keep their instruments.
Oh, wow.
When they went home, so town bands flourished. And these guys were really proud of their service. Jacob Case was very proud. This is him in about 1892, 93 with the drum. It's a big GAR, Grand Army of the Republic guy, like the modern day American Legion.
Yeah.
And then here's the 1893 newspaper with his article about him. And this is one of the tugs, because I still got to do some work on this drum.
Yeah.
And this is a head tucking tool from about that time, so they can tuck the under the hoops. But it's a really nice grouping from a guy who was very proud of what he did.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's all we brought this year.
Wonderful. You do drums. You said you brought other years different drums of war. So this is just a lifelong passion for you to show off eras of you come to a thing like this and everybody has 50s kits and stuff, and you're really showing a whole different world of older drums that existed well before any of this stuff.
Yeah, these are not Ringo's drums.
No,
these are functional drums.
Yes.
So as we went further in the 1800s, the drums got shorter because the guys were sitting them in chairs and playing double drums and things like that, and then somebody invented a snare drum stand. So it's not uncommon for drums to be cut down after the war, but it also wasn't common for drums that were pre-war to be cut down before the Civil War, because the march pace increased from the Rev War to the Civil War. They were walking faster in the Civil War, so the drums were smaller.
Oh, wow.
A 13 by 16 is pretty contract.
Yeah.
Those are pretty normal sizes. They even made some smaller ones.
Oh, wow.
Which are rare, but I've got a few.
Nice.
So that's all I have.
Oh, that's great. Hey, I super appreciate you talking to us today. It's really, really cool. Rob said I couldn't miss this, and I'm glad I didn't. So thank you very much.
Every year we try to make it a little different.
All right, great. Thank you.